You may remember, but probably not, that several years ago I predicted the slow motion train wreck that is currently occurring in China. If anything, the motion is a little faster than I predicted. Many are catching on to this now. Well, more gloating about that in a later episode. Today's prediction is that leftists in the Western world are facing a mass extinction event on par with the dinosaur or the passenger pigeon. As with most things, I pay more attention to the numerical data than to the political opinion of the day. And the data for the continuation of the leftist, well, let's just say species, for them is horrifying. Maybe not so much for us. Leftists hate children. And no, I'm not saying that every single individual leftist hates every single individual child on the planet. But as a rule, leftists are very much anti-child and, in fact, anti-human. Leftists think it would be much better if there were fewer people on the planet, if those fewer people were less prosperous, and if humans with a propensity to excel were punished into mediocrity. Of course, you won't usually hear those things said out loud, but just look at their policies, confiscating money from the productive sectors of the economy and redirecting it into unproductive sectors. Ever higher taxes on those who manage to achieve wealth. Unrestricted limits on terminating all pregnancies. And in some cases, I'm not kidding, I live in Colorado, legally terminating the life of an unwanted infant after birth. Here are some of the crown jewels of human-hating leftist philosophies. Anti-natalism, the belief that procreation is immoral. Ephilism, the belief that humans produce nothing but suffering and waste and should go extinct. Well, speak for yourselves. Eco-terrorism advocates the destruction of property and the murder of humans for perceived threats to the environment. Modern feminism, as with many movements with legitimate historical roots, this has morphed into a child-hating, anti-motherhood, anti-male hate fest. Not exactly a recipe for biological success. In essence, they have one-upped the Chinese one-child policy in favor of something even better for us, basically a zero-child policy that will guarantee the decline and fall of leftists as a viable entity on planet Earth. The numbers tell the story, folks, on the order of 40% fewer children being produced by leftists. Now, interestingly, this childlessness crisis on the left coincides with something approaching a fertility boom among non-leftists. Because while the number of people choosing not to have children is increasing, the number of children produced by those who do choose to become mothers is actually increasing. Now, I do have to temper my rhetoric a little bit with a dose of sincere sympathy for the many, many women who want to have a family but are unable to do so. As a man, I don't think we can really ever understand having been born with a biological imperative to reproduce and then to have that imperative thwarted, either by unlucky health circumstances, bad male behavior, or a lack of urgency and focus during the childbearing years. Now, the objective fact that some of those who are involuntarily childless are in that position due to poor decision-making doesn't diminish the pain of the inevitable consequences. Becoming inevitable demographic collapse among leftists is being matched by an ever-increasing level of hysteria to exert control over the children of non-leftists. Nearly all of academia, from kindergarten through grad school, is infested, either overtly or covertly, with leftist messaging being pushed on our children by overwhelmingly leftist teachers. The explosion of charter schools in many parts of the country is a welcome counterweight to this propaganda machine. Even there, you find way too much leftist propaganda for my taste, but it is at least tempered by more parental control. Again, though, the numbers tell the story. Children of non-leftist parents are much more likely to grow up as non-leftists. There's even some evidence that the decision to have kids, in and of itself, tends to strip away leftist dogma better and better. I find myself these days spending way too much time being annoyed Justifiably annoyed, maybe. But it's probably not a recipe for long-term happiness. Now, note to self. Create a playlist of my episodes which indicate, in fact, we are not all doomed.